audience for a couple of minutes. Thank you so much. Oh.
One, two. 1, 2, 1, 2. Up, 2, 2.
Ah.
1, 2, 1, 2. Up, 2, 2. Up, 2. Up, up. Up, 2, 2, 2. Up.
We are H-A-B-B-Y. We know we are sure we are H-A-B-B-Y. We are H-A-B-B-Y. We are H-A-B-B-Y. We know we are sure we are H-A-B-B-Y. Oh, it's okay.
We are H-A-B-B-Y. We are H-A-B-B-Y. We know we are sure we are H-A-B-B-Y.
Baba wa ABDUL-RASHEED ala o. Wọ́n ní bàbá ni bàbá ṣe o. Bàbá ni bàbá jẹ́. A ti ṣe yìí, a tún ṣe míì sí. Àlọ́dọọdún la rórógbó, ọdọọdún la róbì, ọdọọdún la rọmọ róbì lórí àtẹ o. Ọdọọdún la mọ̀ ríra wa dé. Mo ṣe bá àwọn èèyàn jankan tó wà lórí ìjókòó. Ìbà Ọlọ́run ìbà ènìyàn o. Ìbà lọ́kùnrin ìbà lóbìnrin sẹ́. Ìbà olùfúnni, olùlání, olùgbéni, olùpani, olùjíni. We are H-A-B-B-Y. We are H-A-B-B-Y. We know we are sure we are H-A-B-B-Y. Ẹgbọ́n sókè.
We are H-A-B-B-Y. We are H-A-B-B-Y. We know we are sure we are
náàlà ọmọ Ìlọrin Àfọ̀njá ẹnu dùn jùyọ̀. ìlú tóbi tó yẹn wọn ò lékún rárá ẹ̀sìn lékún lé bàbá tó bí wọn lọ́mọ o kéwú náà ń kà nílọrin. àdúpẹ́ tọ́lọ́run tó dá wá sí dọjọ́ òní. It is not by our power, not by our might, but by the grace of God. Yeah. Ice. Bàbá o, bàbá o, bàbá o. Olúwa dá bàbá sí fún wa.
Bàbá o, bàbá o, bàbá o. Olúwa dá bàbá sí fún wa.
Bàbá o, bàbá o, bàbá o. Olúwa dá bàbá sí fún wa.
Bàbá o, bàbá o, bàbá o. Olúwa dá bàbá sí fún wa.
Ìbà ló yọ Ọlọ́run ọba o. Àjọjọ́ ọjọ́ pé ọjọ́ yẹn rè bí àná. 5 years is not beans. Fún gbogbo mèrè tẹ́ ti ṣe nínú Abuja. Wọ́n ní tọ́bẹ̀ ní Bàdàkáwí. Bàbá ni bàbá ṣe o. Ọ̀gá lọ̀kí láwùjọ ẹyẹkẹyẹ o. Ọ̀gá ní kìnìún ló dájú. Ọ̀gá lọ̀gá wa o. ABDUL-RASHEED nàálà. Ojú oró nílékè omi, ìran òṣìbàtà nílékè odò. Odò olúlékè lónìí kẹ́ máa lékè ọ̀tá yín lọ́jọ́ gbogbo. Gbogbo èèyàn pátápátá mo kí. Gbogbo management ní Abuja pátápátá. Bára wa ṣe láṣẹ Ọlọ́run ọba o. Bí ayọ̀ là mọ̀ rí. Bàbá o, bàbá o, bàbá o. Olúwa dá bàbá sí fún wa.
Bàbá o, bàbá o, bàbá o. Olúwa dá bàbá sí fún wa.
Ice. Bàbá mi ABDUL-RASHEED nàálà ló jẹ́ wípé wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa, wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa, wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà àwọn ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà. Kílẹ̀ wíṣẹ́.
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa, wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa, ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
Wọ́n kéré, wọ́n kéré, wọ́n kéré. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà bàbá. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa, àwọn ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà. Kílẹ̀ wí.
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa, ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
Wọ́n ní Professor Abuja bísí wa ní Abuja ó ṣe dáadáa o. Ó gbọ́jà fẹ́gbẹ́ ó tún gbà owó bọ̀ o. Wọ́n kéré, wọ́n kéré, wọ́n kéré. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà bàbá. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà àwọn ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré.
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa, ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
Egun ẹni bá jó dáadáa, ó yẹ ká máa yẹgún o. Bísí wáyé ní Abuja o, èèyàn dáadáa ní bàbá mi. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa, wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà bàbá. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà àwọn ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Ṣé
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa, ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
wọ́n kéré, wọ́n kéré, wọ́n kéré. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà bàbá. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà àwọn ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Ṣé
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa, ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
wọ́n kéré, wọ́n kéré o, wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa, àwọn ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà rẹ̀.
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa, ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
Professor ABDUL-RASHEED o, èèyàn dáadáa ní bàbá mi. Ó tún Abuja ṣe, Rasheed yóò máa jó sẹ́. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa, ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
Nínú ìjù ọ̀gá ní kìnìún, nínú igbó ọ̀gá ní kìnìún. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa, ABDUL-RASHEED ó kéré, wọ́n kéré, wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà
Wọ́n
rẹ̀.
kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
Wọ́n kéré, wọ́n kéré.
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà
Wọ́n
wa.
kàn pé mú ni.
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa, ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà bàbá. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà àwọn ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Ẹ sọ
Wọ́n
bẹ́ẹ̀.
kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa, ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
Bàbá wa ṣòǹgbọ́. Bàbá fún wa lọ́mọ rere. Tó bá fún wa lọ́mọ rere, fún wa lówó ká fi ṣèkẹ́ wọn. Bàbá wa ṣòǹgbọ́. Bàbá fún wa lọ́mọ rere. Tó bá fún wa lọ́mọ rere, fún wa lówó ká fi ṣèkẹ́ wọn. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà bàbá. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà àwọn ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà tiẹ̀.
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa, ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
Wọ́n ní mọ́lì dọ́là o, Sẹ́ríkì oníjìdáni, bàbá jẹ́jẹ́jẹ́jẹ́ mi. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà ẹ sọ bẹ́ẹ̀.
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa, ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
Wọ́n kéré
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa, ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà rẹ̀. Rasheed wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà rẹ̀. Àwọn ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà. Wọ́n kéré.
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa, ọmọdé wọ̀nyí nọ́mbà wọn.
ọmọ Ìlọrin Àfọ̀njá Ìlọrin ìlú Afa o ọmọ ajífi kálámọ̀ dámọ̀lẹ́kùn àríṣe kan dún wọn kéré sẹ́sẹ́sẹ́sẹ́.
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
Eyáyà
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
àṣà
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
bàbá mi Pòfẹ́sọ̀ Musa Ọláfẹ́ ọmọ ọ̀fàrí o ìyẹ̀rú ọ̀kín ọlọ́fà mọ́jọ ṣe ọ̀kẹ́rẹ́ sí nọ́mbà wa.
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà bàbá. wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà àwọn ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. ẹsẹ̀.
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
Elelelele.
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
Elelelele.
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
Elelelelele. Parararararara. Irerererererererererere.
Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Wọ́n kéré sí nọ́mbà wa. Ọmọdé wọ̀nyí kéré sí nọ́mbà wa.
Ice. Bàbá mi Pòfẹ́sọ̀ Musa Ọláfẹ́ gbogbo Islamic religion pátápátá ní fakọ́tì tiwa fakọ́tì of arts wọ́n ní bẹ́gùn ẹni bá jó ó yẹ ká wí bàbá mi ló náwó lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. Wọ́n máa fa sálátù ránṣẹ́ o. Wọ́n máa fa sálátù ránṣẹ́. Èmi ò máa fa sálátù ránṣẹ́ ní tèmi. Wọ́n máa fa sálátù ránṣẹ́. Ìbàdàn ò jẹ́ gbàgbé, ò jẹ́ gbàgbé, ò jẹ́ gbàgbé Mẹ́dínà. Wọ́n máa fa sálátù ránṣẹ́. Ẹ sọ bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n máa fa sálátù ránṣẹ́. Bàbá mi Pòfẹ́sọ̀ Musa Ọláfẹ́. Ọmọ Ẹ̀gbá. Ọmọ alájẹ máa gbóhùn lẹ́nu mi. Ọmọ Ẹ̀gbá alájẹ máa gbóhùn lẹ́nu mi sẹ́. Ogun nílé. Ọmọ ajógbẹ̀rú máa jógbẹ̀kọ ẹrú ló ń sin ní ẹ̀kọ́ kì í sìn nìyàn. Bàbá ni bàbá ṣe. Ọlábàdàn màmá sọ pé ọ̀gá ní kìnìún nínú gbogbo ẹran kẹran o. Lílọ bíbọ ẹ̀dá láyé ọwọ́ ẹ ló wà. Jíjẹ mímu gbogbo ènìyàn ẹ̀rẹ ló ń pèsè. Lílọ bíbọ ẹ̀dá láyé ọwọ́ ẹ ló wà. Jíjẹ mímu gbogbo ènìyàn. Gbogbo tó bá sí lóyege, à ń fi ìyìn fọ́ba rere tó mú wa gbègede. Kòwó ta ìṣedédé ọmọ ẹlẹ́dàá ènìyàn ojú tọ̀tà yegede ọmọ ọlọ́run yege ìjìnlẹ̀ nínú ìjìnlẹ̀ ẹ ṣe o ìjìnlẹ̀ nínú ìjìnlẹ̀ ẹ ṣe o ìjìnlẹ̀ nínú ìjìnlẹ̀ ẹ ṣe o bàbá ìjìnlẹ̀ nínú ìjìnlẹ̀ ẹ ṣe o àná wa sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ ṣe o ó ní wa sọ̀rọ̀ yé o ó dájú ọ̀la wa sọ̀rọ̀ yé o ẹ ṣe o ó ní ìjìnlẹ̀ nínú ìjìnlẹ̀ yé o ẹ ṣe o. èmi á ṣe bà lọ́wọ́ ọlọ́run ọba pánípání tí àyè ń sáyà. Panipani tí ayé sáyé olódùmarè ọba ẹ̀rù jẹ̀jẹ̀ létí òkun pupa. Fáńfà ní gbogbo ẹni tó wà níbí lọ́jọ́ òní. When you give birth to your child, it is good to train your child well. Bàbá mi. For the sake of Hausa people wey dey here o. Allah Mungote Mapayo Obangeje Kaikede Kai Sayabo Allah Mungote Mapayo Obangeje Kaikede Kai Sayabo Oya Kaikede Kaikede Obangeje Kaikede Kai Sayabo Kaikede Allah Mungote Mapayo Ubangeje Kaikede Kai Sayabo Allah Mungote Mapayo Ubangeje Kaikede Kai Sayabo we say Kaikede Ubangeje Kaikede Kai Sayabo Kaikede Professor ABDUL-RASHEED Nala. See the way he love you. See the way he care for you. He carry your matter for his head, you. Ibo kwenu. Ibo kwenu. See the way he love you. Professor ABDUL-RASHEED Nala. See the way he care for you. He carry your matter for his head, you say. Like a little baby, he watch over you. He know they carry you, they play, oh. And you say, ah.
Obina somo, ineme obidasa. Obina somo, ineme obidasa.
Oh yeah, everybody, gbogbo Abuja management pátápátá. I say, I so wonder, this is me do.
I so wonder, this is me do.
Now so wonder, this is me do.
I so wonder, this is me do.
He has changed my unit. He has changed my unit. He has changed you of it. Now so wonder, this is me do. Now so wonder, this is me do. Yeah.
I so wonder, this is me do.
Nice. Professor ABDUL-RASHEED náà la o ló jẹ́ wípé wẹ́rẹ́ ló bá ẹ ṣe. Wẹ́rẹ́ ló bá ẹ ṣe. Professor ABDUL-RASHEED yẹn.
Wẹ́rẹ́ ló bá ọ ṣe.
Ohun tó ta rò pé kò ṣeé ṣe.
Wẹ́rẹ́ ló bá ọ ṣe.
Ohun tó ta rò pé kò ṣeé ṣe.
Wẹ́rẹ́ ló bá ọ ṣe.
Professor ABDUL-RASHEED Nala ọmọ Ìlọrin Àfọ̀njá inú dùn jùyọ o. Ìlú tóbi tó yẹn wọn ò lékún rárá, ẹ̀sìn lékún lé bàbá tó bí wọn lọ́mọ o. Ọmọ ajífi kálámù dámọ́lẹ́kùn ẹ̀rí ṣe kọ́ńdú. Ọmọ òpó múlẹ́rọ̀ mọ̀jà lẹ́kan òpó rọṣọ òpó gbàjà. Ọmọ òpó òpọ̀rọ̀ wọn ní àtibọ̀nà, iná òpọ̀rọ̀ wọn ní àfifómi o. Omi òpọ̀rọ̀ wọn ní àfipọ̀tí tó lè fọmọ burúkú. Ìlọrin ìlú àfa o. Tán ṣe ń ké pẹ̀rú náà ń gbàdúrà gbọ́rẹ́. Ìlọrin láyé wà o. Ìlọrin láyé wà o.
Ìlọrin láyé wà o.
Ìlọrin láyé wà o.
Ìlọrin láyé wà o.
Ìlọrin láyé wà o.
Láyé wà o.
Ice. Ah, eh. This kind God, another one he know do. This kind God, another one know do.
Shall we rise for the national anthem?
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace or battle honored, and this we count as gain. To hang on to our children a banner without stain. Oh God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed. And so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed.
Please sit. We shall begin this event properly with a silent and individual prayer for 1 minute. May God, in his infinite mercies and power, accept our prayers. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to welcome you all to this great occasion, an occasion that is dedicated to honoring a distinguished academic and an erudite scholar and administrator whom we shall come to meet shortly. But before we get into the heart of this occasion, may I have the privilege to introduce to you some of the special personalities that are gathered here this evening. I'm talking about the big men and the big ladies. Here with us this afternoon, or this evening rather, is the Minister of State for Education, Honorable Dr. Yusuf Tanko Sonunu, who is ably represented by Dr. Mrs. Clarice Ujam, Special Assistant to the Minister. A round of applause. Let me also introduce distinguished Senator representing Kwara Central Senatorial District, the Turaki of Ilorin. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Malam Saliu Mustafa. He is actually the chief launcher of our books today. You know, I was reading a couple of days about him in the newspaper, and I read an article by somebody who was writing very beautiful things about him. But one thing struck me. In 2 simple sentences, the man described him saying, distinguished senator has money and he spends it. This is a very good occasion for him to really show us that he's going to do much more, even the writer envisaged. We also have with us here today a distinguished personality who is a former Vice Chancellor and the Secretary General of Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, the Registrar and Chief Executive Officer of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, Professor Isaac. I also welcome the Executive Secretary of the National Universities Commission, Mr. Chris Meyaki. Permit me to introduce to you the man of the moment, a quintessential and visionary leader, an accomplished educationist, an administrator who has achieved a lot in moving particularly the University of Abuja to a greater height. A man who has changed the face of that university and has sent very great lessons to leaders of such institutions. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Vice Chancellor, Professor ABDUL-RASHEED Nala. But of course, some of you will probably be expecting that I will mention my Vice Chancellor as outgoing Vice Chancellor. I won't do that. It makes me sick. So, he's our Vice Chancellor. Another round of applause for him, please. We would also like to welcome a graceful lady, a legal icon and an intellectual who is a shining example of the testament that God raises an individual from grace to grace and again from grace to grace. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our brand new acting Vice Chancellor, Professor Aisha Sani Mekudi. You know, a couple of days ago, when we put out the news about the appointment of an acting Vice Chancellor, some of the media men were getting across to us. Of course, they were also elated. And one got to me, and he said, look, my friend, I just read the headline on the newspaper that you had a 41-year-old lady. And when I read it, I thought that something had been sacrificed, merit had been sacrificed. But I went through the entire story, and I discovered that she was a product of 2 prestigious universities, the University of Reading and the London School of Economics. And so I knew that this lady was the kind of lady such university deserved. But I was quick to mention to him that she was not a product of 2 prestigious universities. She was a product of 3 prestigious universities, including the great University of Abuja. Prof, we are very proud to have you as the acting Vice Chancellor of our great institution. I would like to quickly recognize the presence of another scholar, easily one of the most influential leader in our community and campus. Please let's welcome our Deputy Vice Chancellor, Administration, Professor Philip Afaha. I also like to recognize the presence of a workaholic, a man who many think work as great as the Vice Chancellor. People also wonder whether he sleeps. He is the registrar of the university and secretary to council, Malam Yahya Mohammed. We also have our bursar here, a quiet lady who probably knows the root of virtually every naira, the way it flows. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mrs. Florence Ajakpona. This hall actually is filled with very great personalities. On that note, let me recognize the presence of a distinguished writer and literary critic, the president of the Association of Nigerian Authors, who invariably is one of the reviewers of the book we are going to be launching today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Usman Oladipo Akombi. As I said earlier, I'm very much aware that we have great personalities here. I will continue to mention and recognize their presence as the program moves. But at this juncture, I would like to recognize the presence of deans, directors, heads of department, and indeed all of you who are here present today, who have come, taking time out from your very busy schedule to witness and grace this occasion. I do know that I can't call you individually, but especially for those whose presence I have not specifically recognized, including myself actually, please let's a round of applause for ourselves. By the way, I am the acting director of information and university relations of the University of Abuja, and my name is Dr. Habib Yakub, and I will be your master of ceremony for this event. Let me also quickly recognize the presence of the amiable wife or vice chancellor who is here seated with us today. A round of applause for Dr. Asiat Naala. As I said earlier, we will continue to recognize the presence of our great personalities, but at this moment, I think it's important for us to make progress. On this note, may I call on the chairman organizing committee of this event, our acting vice chancellor, to come forward and give a welcome address. A round of applause for her, please. Well, I'm sorry, I've just been informed that another distinguished personality is here, a very big one indeed, the Kwara State Governor and Chairman, Nigerian Governors Forum, His Excellency Governor Abdul-Rahman Abdul-Razak, CON. A big round of applause, please. It's really a big masquerade. And talking about launching, I reserve my comment.
Your Excellency, sir, the Vice Chancellor, sir, distinguished guests, principal officers, staff, and students, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, or well, good evening now, I guess, and welcome to this special send-off lunch in honor of our esteemed Vice Chancellor, Professor ABDUL-RASHEED Na'Allah. Today, we gather to celebrate and acknowledge the remarkable contributions and leadership he has provided during his tenure with us. Professor Na'Allah has been more than a Vice Chancellor. He has been a visionary leader, an inspiring mentor, and a tireless advocate for academic excellence. Under his guidance, our institution has reached new heights, from enhancing our academic programs to fostering a culture of research and innovation. His commitment to inclusive education and community engagement has left an indelible mark on us all. As we come together to share this meal and reflect on the past years, let us also look forward with optimism. While we bid farewell to Professor Na'Allah in his current role, we remain confident that his future endeavors will continue to uplift and inspire. Professor Na'Allah, thank you for your unwavering dedication, your profound wisdom, and your compassionate leadership. Your legacy will undoubtedly endure within the walls of our institution and beyond. Let us now enjoy this meal, celebrating the milestones we have achieved together and the bright future ahead. I would also like to say alt entertainment today is from our Theatre Arts Department. Thank you so much, our dear students, and the head of department, Dr. Rosaline Yassim. Thank you all.
Well, of course, that's not an ordinary person now. That's our acting Vice Chancellor. So, a deeper round of applause, please. We are getting close to the main items on this program, which is a book launch. Of course, the Vice Chancellor has written several works, and even while he was busy administering the affairs of our great university, he was still writing actively. And one of the books we're about to launch today is a collection of poetry celebrating the rich traditions and culture of Ilorin. But of course, the VC has never hidden his intention or his love for his home country, Ilorin. And at every little opportunity, he says something beautiful about it. Even though this work appears to be concentrated on the tradition and culture of that great, beautiful city, it also transcends the country, Africa, and even the world in a very beautiful manner. On this note, I would like to invite easily one of the most important persons here. Okay. My attention has just been drawn to a very important item, even though it's not on the program of event. I think this book will have to be reviewed so that we get to understand better what the book is all about. But of course, I'm not the reviewer. I would like to call on the president of the Association of Nigerian Authors to come forward and review this book. A round of applause for him.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kwara State, Alhaji Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, distinguished Senator Saliu Mustafa, the representative of the Honorable Minister for State Education, the acting Vice Chancellor, and the outgoing Vice Chancellor, I make bold to say, because if he doesn't go, he will not accomplish more. He has to go. Professor ABDUL-RASHEED Na'ala. And indeed, members of the team in University of Abuja, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Deans, and Head of Departments, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, the crew that are anchoring the events today, I say good evening to you all. And this evening is not just a celebration of Professor ABDUL-RASHEED Na'ala, it's also a celebration of Ilorin, because that's one of those things that is dear to him. And I did say in the best fashion that we usually greet in Ilorin, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The honorary today, Professor ABDUL-RASHEED Na'ala, the poet, is not only a talented writer, but also a mentor, friend, and guiding light who has inspired so many of us. I remembered when I walked into his office, I don't know, it probably was an assistant lecturer there in the University of Ilorin Mini Campus. I went to meet him. I invited him out that I should come and make a presentation for Ilorin Emirates Students Union, of which I was the president then, in 1990. Honestly, the way he accorded me, the respect, is still the same person whom I've seen today when I came here. He has not changed. He is frank, he could be blunt. But honestly speaking, he's down to earth. And it's been an encouragement to many of us because, and one of those people we learned from then was him, that I said, when I attain the same status in life, any young man that comes to my office, I'll give him the same treatment. So thank you for being that mentor. When I became the Students' Union President, University of Ilorin in 1991, and it was crisis, I was having serious problem with some of my teams. One of them, who is now the Secretary of APC, Senator Ajibola, he was my Assistant Secretary General in University of Ilorin Students' Union. He will call me, he will mentor me, he will talk, and will tell us that this is the way to go. And today, here we are today, 30 years after. So when I also said I was becoming president of ANA, I approached him. Each time he mentioned, how far with your campaign? If I see my VC University of Ilorin, Professor ABDUL-RASHEED, well, how far with your campaign? And when you have people, titans behind you, you know there's nothing you cannot achieve in this world. In the first part, so in 2001, Professor ABDUL-RASHEED Na'ala wrote a beautiful foreword to my first collection of poems, Weevils on Grains. It was in Lianos University then. And later our path crossed when he gave me the appointment of an adjunct lecturer at the University of Kwara State University, where he was Vice Chancellor. And I was always talking about it, that my late father was asking, what's between you and this Professor ABDUL-RASHEED Na'ala? And today again, he has called me out to come and do this review. I feel honored and humbled to have been considered worthy of this, reviewing this culturally inspiring masterpiece. And it indicates the confidence he has in me and affirms that I've been well schooled in the art of literature, despite my primary background as a scientist. So, like many other reviews, reluctantly I accepted. But over the years, I relented, largely because people like him have done the same for me. That's why I accepted to do this review. But the question is, how do I begin? I didn't know the audience that was coming in. I thought it was an academic audience. So I wanted to match up with the quality of an academic. But when I entered this hall, so what I did, I was not sure of the crowd. But what I did two versions. an abridged version, and a full one that anybody can pick up at any point in time. So, at the end of the day, I came with 2 versions. But what I want to do is to have an abridgment of the 2 versions so that we can move forward. So, the organization of the book is heartwarming to discover a poetry book that sparks nostalgic feelings about one's heritage and culture. Ilorin-Fa Adoration Poetry is a captivating collection that is divided into 7 parts and beautifully captures the essence of Ilorin City, has a melting pot of diverse culture, including the Yorubas, Fulanis, Hausa, Bokobaros, Barubas, Nupes, Gobirs, Kanuris, Kembiris, and Gwari. It might surprise you that I'm bearing Akambi, but I have the Kembiri origin. So that's one of the unique things about Ilorin. The Yorubas themselves comprise descendants of sub-ethnic like the Oyos, Ijesas, Igbominas, Ibolos, and others. Once an outpost of ancient Oyo Empire, Ilorin cultural heritage is a vibrant blend of Islamic traditional influences shaped by Fulani headship. So in the first part, Ololufemi, my love, my Ilorin, he expresses his deep affections for Ilorin, its people and cultural heritage. He uses the Yoruba language to romanticize Ilorin, its people and culture, emphasizing his reliance on Allah rather than some other minor deities. He draws a lot from local folklore, stories, songs to portray characteristics that define Ilorin, including his charming allure, cultures, and approach to life. Ultimately, he described Ilorin as meta-humans. He continues and celebrates Ilorin in poem on page 3, Ilorin, the satisfaction of man. And the poet also likened Ilorin to Iroja. There's popular saying in Yoruba, Aye Loja, Orunile. So he now said, Iroja, come and see. Oja ninje Ilorin, Alubaka ninje Ilorin, Owo ninje Ilorin, Asekwa afa, asekwa ọmọ kéwú, asekwa àwọn obìnrin, asekwa àwọn ọkùnrin, asekwa samari, asekwa àgbàlagbà, Ilorin fa. In fact, that word fa, there's hardly anything I say in a day that fa will not come out of it. I don't know how I sipped into it. So the author has emphasized virtual aspects. Then in part 2, Life of Them Adorers, he talked about several personalities in Ilorin, one of which was late Aliu Babagba, Dogo Onisuru. They chose Dogo and stood by his choice, and unchose Dogo and stood firmly, dropping him. Ilorin knew what it loved and what is loved by Dogo Onisuru. Aliu Abdulkadri became Babagba from his patience of his own choosing. Whatever lacks greed and gave himself to others became a ruler. What essentially he wants to point out is that Babagba had 3 notable, possessed 3 notable virtues. One is resilience, patience, and contentment. All those who were privileged to know Babagba Aliu would know that he has said, whatever he has said in his book is true about him. For someone to persevere, to be removed from the throne, return to the throne, and installed in his 80s, honestly, is exceptional. Then he also talked about Lanre Kawu, Modibo Kawu. Honestly, he said that the lion didn't know introduction. Proclaiming, just like Trinka said, the tiger does not proclaim his tigritude. In a poem honoring Modibo, the writer praises his versatility, which has a scion of the esteemed Kawu family in Ilorin, renowned for vast knowledge both in Western and Islamic. He also talked about Larry's, I thought he would have used this instead of Larry, because what most people now know is Modibo Kawu. But for those of us who grew up in early years, we know what Larry stands for. It means that it's synonymous with wealth in all its ramifications, either knowledge, whatever you can think of it. Another Larry is the revered Larry Shagaya, recognized globally for his engineering prowess. He's not only a skilled businessman, also a dedicated philanthropist, earning the esteemed title of Zana of Ilorin, which literally means custodian of heritage wealth in Ilorin. He also talked about Oba Abu, the first Ilorin-born vice chancellor of the University of Ilorin, an institution renowned not only in Nigeria, but across the entire Black Africa. University of Ilorin has been the most sought after university over the last 10 years. And I think Professor Nala is also a former student of University of Ilorin. And of course, the JAM registrar. So he also talked about Dr. Olusola Saraki, a political icon, known as, who Ilorin political for nearly 4 decades, whose influence continues to be felt through his children, including Dr. Bukola Saraki and Gbemisola Saraki, both governors and senators of the Federal Republic. Finally, in section 2, the writer dedicates an adoration poetry to Alhaji S.K. Dan Alhaji of Alkinla compound. In those days, the only rich man at one state that people knew was Alhaji Alkinla. He was so rich. Then in part 3, conceptualities. In the piece titled Isale Ajasa, he employs his native Ilorinized Yoruba to explore the interconnectedness of families, neighbors, and gathering places that we popularly refer to as assembly in Ilorin. When you ask for assembly, you get to Ilorin, ask for assembly, they will show you where assemblies are. So, where ordinary folks in Ilorin come together, work, socialize. And in Oba Ilorin, he praises the virtues of emirs of Ilorin, his chieftains, Balogun Alan, Balogun Gambari, all of them, including clerics, highlighting their roles in using Ilorin to promote social harmony. And what sets Ilorin apart is their reliance on Islamic faith. And that's why in Ilorin we don't refer to our Oba as Kabiyesi, because we believe Kabiyesi belongs only to Allah. In Omaya, he talked about personal love, the self-love. If you love yourself the way you love your neighbor, and that's all about Ilorin, that everybody is Omaya in Ilorin. In short excerpt of the poem, he used Yala Salatu to bring to the fore activities of various Islamic prayer groups that dot Ilorin. And the activities, he said, are far removed from the Isese of neighboring Yoruba communities that operate. Worthy of mention in this guy's popular Rukayat Boltumolu Asi Aya Suleimana. According to quoting Al-Amin El-Nasir, Waka chant in Ilorin is deeply influenced by Islamic culture, a Yuba 977, and Waka was developed from Yoruba folklore. This version of Waka music gained traction in 1915, and we have Batuli Alake. If you have not heard about Batuli Alake, the Yoruba man, please go back and listen to that wise, if you listen to Waka, you'll be inspired. Where women sang as part of ceremonials. There's also notion of Waka, connection, and Salatu. Then Ilorin Waka, originating in Nigeria, combines traditional music with influences featuring people like Rukayat Bolutu Oluwamansi. Then the performance nature of variant of Ilorin Waka has been categorized by Nala. He did that in 2014. He classified them to 3 different groups: Waka chanters, one-man Waka chanter, and housewife Waka. He also, in his collection, he also made mention of prominent Islamic clerics like Alhaji Kamaldeen, Alhaji Alfa Alhaji Adam Alilori, and Kokeuko Bere, and Jongolo, and so on, who have made significant contributions to Ilorin. The author expressed concern about rising tide of criminality among youth in recent times, which has spread rapidly across the Ilorin Emirate. When we were growing up, our parents were very stern. We thought they were harsh. But when you see children of today, you will thank your parents for what they have done for you. So if left unchecked, he said, we are to expel disaster for the environment. He attributed his decline part to the digital technology, which has become double-edged sword. In the poem, Danger Deep Flakes for Ilorin, the author sounded the alarm bell, warning of the emergence of a new crop of youths he calls bastards of the society. He begins, the poet cries for sanctity in the face of madness. Using metaphor of a blind poet holding a lamp, he highlights the absurdity of the situation. This lamp is not for me, for you, all without eyes. So you don't step on me. The poet is exasperated by the actions of these young people who trivialize human life in their quest to be someone they shouldn't aspire to be. He asked rhetorically, what shrewdness have deep fakes? What is the thought behind facelift? What is genuineness of double speak? What? Ajisebi or Yolari or you a shebi enikan. So why live a fake life in the first instance? Why pretend to be someone who shouldn't be in the first place? You shouldn't be in the first place. Why not just be authentic self and live a genuine life? I may be mistaken, but it appears the poet is also addressing individuals in positions of authority who make grandiose promises but fail to deliver even the slightest positive change. They promise heavens and earth and can't even stay up specs. They even boast about their superiority over others, but ultimately prove to be worse when appointed into office. This individual may initiate activities that have little or no impact in the society. The author fears that many young people are heading towards life of crime, and which will ultimately lead them to Mandala Correctional Center. In his poem Mandala, he reveals the true meaning of word, a Hausa term that connotes peace and tranquility of mind and of the body. This Mandala everybody seeks has peace of mind and has mind of peace and mind of heart. This part reminds me of the quote by John Milton in Paradise Lost when he said, where peace and rest cannot dwell, hope never comes that comes to all, but torture without ends. Every indigent of Ilorin long for this peaceful state, which is the essence of Mandala. Ifokambale. Elofokambale. In Yoruba language, a state of harmony, peace that brings calmness to the mind and heart. May God grant us this to us. Every town has its own unique blend of local cuisine. Ilorin is no exception. In part 3, the author explores the local food vendors. Iyoni Tuwo stands out. How can you understand the meaning of Iyatuwo in Ilorin? Only if you perceive the sweetness felt inside the brain and understand it means for delicious bakery to accompany tuwo to the mouth. So let me know, I will leave you. He also talked about in part 4, Aukena, that's mirage. He talks about leaves and leaflets, blue and yellow, closeness of bees. He also talked about when somebody say, Eniyan, lasho me. If you are important, I know problem, just look behind you and you know that you have people behind you. He also talked about Omalangidi. And Omalangidi, he talked about what we talk in Ilorin is Oma Alali, Oma Giriki, Oma Luabi, Oma Yi, Oma Alakpanle, Oma Tony Ankali. The poet took time again to shower praise. Oma Akeu Shola, Afiwala Tore, Oma Ilorin Afanjad the Kaya, Oma Ilorin Afanjad the Loco, Oma Ilorin Afanjad the Lai Lai. But this part reminds me of the version that I knew in Hausa. Ilorin Ashiga the Kaya, Afita the Loco, Ashiga the La Ilaha Illallah. There's a part also, I think probably I'm skipping, where he talked about the governor of Kwara State, where he praised him. The poet also highlights the influential families of Sarakis and ABDUL-RASHEED who have dominated Ilorin modern history. In the world of ABDUL-RASHEED, dedicated to Governor ABDUL-RASHEED, the poet extols the virtues and acknowledges the house of Sheikh Alimin for laying the foundation for achievement of all great men and women in Ilorin. In part 5, he now said, these are all the Faris of Ilorin, those people who have made Ilorin into what it is today over the last 40 years. Then he now talked in Omalangidi, he talked about Omatoni Bomuti, Ouno Umu Ekobona, Omibona Kanani Lajonwamu, which resonates with what Tunjo Ilana said. Oyinbo Muti, Baba mi muko, Shebo mi bona ni bobo wa jomu. Good morning, sir. So it tells you that the writer is also a veteran that listens to a lot of music. So he also went on to talk about reminiscence about Ito Ogungbo, where he grew up, the hub of life. He reflects on his childhood experiences. He observes the poet reflects on his childhood experiences in the old time, cherishing memories. He observed the concern, the attempts to alter the childhood spirit. He talked about Eyan Korin. And he said something in English. I don't know if he translated it well. You know, typically Ọlọ́run say, kò síbi tí Ọlọ́run ò sí, àmọ́ Ìlọrin lọ́lọ́run sùn. There's no place without God. As the birds in the sky of Ìlọrin will sing, but he lives in Ìlọrin. So he now talked about Àdúgbò. People whose children don't know much about what is happening within their environment. They are lost. Kí ni fàárí rẹ tó lè dáhùn díẹ̀ nínú ìbéèrè wọ̀nyí? Kí ni gan ló jẹ́ ayọ̀ rẹ tí àwọn ọmọ rẹ kò lè dáhùn ní díẹ̀ níbẹ̀? So on and on, he talked about Ìlọrin diaspora. He talked about Ìlọrin diaspora. He talked about critical things, the facial mark that defines the Ìlọrin person, the hard work that they have. Usually, if you see a boy or girl loitering away, you will see the others of those, they will say, tó bá kàwé tán, tó kéwú tán, kó tún ké Ìlọrin. They will also come with things like that. Wọ́n ní ó kàwé, wọ́n ní ó kéwú, wọ́n pa láàárọ̀ dákẹ́. All those things that you must have something resolved to do what. So when you want to learn about Ìlọrin, like Alexander Pope said, I advise anyone wishing to understand what and who of Ìlọrin to pick up this book and digest it under the guidance of a Dahi Ìlọrin born. So much can benefit from the wit and wisdom of Ìlọrin, Masu Gaba of spoken words. Or is it Masu Gaba? So finally, this work is in consonance with different theories. Hybridity theory. We also have transculturalism. All kind of theories that guide this mixing of both Yoruba, local language, and English. So in addition, this poetry collection. So the poetry collection is a remarkable fusion of languages, yielding a distinctive and valuable form of expression, celebrates linguistic cultural diversity. It showcases unifying power of language and culture, creating something beautiful and universal. However, I worry that the book's heavy infusion of Yoruba, particularly of the Ìlọrin bent of the dialect, may limit its reach and alienate non-Yoruba speakers. Perhaps the author will explore ways to make the work more accessible in the future. Nonetheless, this collection may inspire others from diverse localities in Nigeria to document their experience about their own communities, which remain rooted in their native languages. I also noticed the author adopted a largely prosaic style, possibly to make the work more inclusive and accessible. Whatever the poet's intention, he has exercised his creative freedom to produce a unique and impactful work. In conclusion, this book's 7 thematic segments reflect an existential framework, making it a must-read for anyone interested in cultural nuances and poetic mastery. Indeed, Ìlọrin Fa is a triumph of poetry and culture, and a fitting tribute to Professor Na'Allah's enduring legacy as a teacher, mentor, and literary icon. Thank you very much.
A round of applause once again. Indeed, that was a beautiful review. I think it's actually a book. Maybe the reviewer will have to find time to publish that so that we can read and enjoy it better. Another round of applause for him, please. On this note, let me quickly take the opportunity to introduce some of more of our distinguished personalities who are here. This evening, I would like to recognize the President of the Deputy Executive Secretary of the National Universities Commission, Dr. Noel Biodun Salio. He's here with his beautiful wife. We also have Barrister Christy Okoye, who is representing the Vice Chancellor of the University of Calabar. A round of applause. Then we have Comrade Isa Aremu, MNI, who is the Director General Michael Imodu Labour Institute, Ìlọrin. He's also here with his wife. Then we have Professor Peter Azikwe Onwalu, who is the President of African University of Science and Technology, Abuja, and I guess he's one of the recipients of our Gold Award this evening. Mrs. Amaka Onwalu, his wife, Acting Director, Energy Commission of Nigeria, is also here. Then we have Mr. Tony Oyobare, Board Member, Student Mentoring Scheme. On this note, I would like to crave the indulgence of our guests to humbly ask all our staff from the University of Abuja who have come here to show love to our Vice Chancellor to rise. Wow, this is indeed a great number. Would you like to say after me, we love you, great man. We love you, Professor ABDUL-RASHEED Nala. Can we say it 3 times and let it ascend, please? I guess before each of you leaves here, the chief launcher will probably take care of you. Now, one of the books that is about to be launched today in honor of our Vice Chancellor is a 645-page book titled Language, Performance, and Oral Dialectics in African Literature. The book is edited by Professor Razinat Mohammed, Dr. Saidat Aliyu, and Roslyn Yachin. It's equally important that we have a review of this big book. Even though it's a big book, the organizers of this event have asked me to ask the reviewer to use only 2 minutes to review this great work. And by virtue of the fact that we know the professor who is coming to review this book, we know she's an excellent professor, versed and a good writer and a critic. She will be able to do this even in 1 minute. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Vicky Sylvester. And while the professor is walking to the podium, let me quickly recognize the presence of CMD Teaching Hospital, Professor Ekele. Thank you so much, please. Listen to her very well.
Good evening, all. This book, Language, Performance, and Oral Dialectics in African Literature, is a first script in honor of Professor ABDUL-RASHEED Na'Allah and edited by Razinat Mohammed, Saadat Aliyu, and Roslyn Yachin. Now, I have 2 minutes, so I'm just going to run through this. ABDUL-RASHEED Na'Allah qualifies for this celebration on 3 scores: as a fine and respected scholar of African oral literature, as a prolific creative writer, and as a university administrator. A first script we all know here extols the lifetime achievement and contributions of the recipient in a particular field of human endeavor, often outlining what the recipient has done to advance the field of study. It is an honor to the recipient, a milestone which peers and scholars in the field bestowed on the recipient. It is therefore to present this special literary jaunt to an eager public that we are all gathered here today. This 645-page book has a total of 23 well-researched essays, and it is divided into 3 major sections, namely Section 1, Section 2, and Section 3, all of which cover extensively topics based on oral tradition, whereby our traditional folklores and other religious performative chants are impressively captured. African orality and performance contents are examined by several authors whose names I cannot mention here. I'm also one of them. So there are many who have whose papers have looked up the performative act of oral literature in which the Professor Naala is very competent in. It is very important to capture, to document our cultural practices before they become extinct, and he's doing that very well. So, the array of fine and well-situated essays on Naala's creative works, African oral performances from different parts of Nigeria presented in this volume is an eloquent testimonial. They all point to the expansion of the discursive field in oral literature as subject. Now, the three editors have shown a way for others to follow. We have always said it is always important. Remember, biographies and first scripts tell us a lot about the writer. And by reading them, many of us will benefit not just from what they have done, but what they have written about and how they have captured the subject. I quoted Naala more than 30 years ago. I didn't know him until he became the Vice Chancellor of our university. So it is the editor's way of saying that the volume represents a piece of history worthy of acknowledgement. In the true first script tradition, this 645-page volume is the celebration of an astute scholar and a visionary leader. Now, one scholar puts it that this celebratory volume is not just a retrospective, but a perspective as well. Even more important is the fact that it serves as a clarion call to all those who recognize the valuable work that this honoree has done in the field of oral literature in Africa. This volume is therefore a map of the honoree's life. It maps the society which influenced the work he has done in the three walks of life we have outlined so far. It is at once the critique of that society, a concerted move towards redirecting one of the most consequential institutions towards the goal of community responsibility. It is a fitting tribute, and in the unassailable tradition of the first script, a solemn declaration by the three editors that they too would like to follow in the footsteps of this scholar and man of letters. It is a remarkable celebratory writing, a body of nuanced essays in current scholarship in oral literature across the continent. Language, performance, and oral dialectics in African literature is a structurally coherent work, truly pleasurable to read, and a vital contribution to celebratory writing in Nigeria and indeed Africa as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Tom. Lower Niger River Basin, Ilorin. A round of applause, let me feel sir. Mrs. Mary Agbato, Chairperson, Student Mentoring Scheme Board. We also have Malam AU Mustafa, a senior advocate of Nigeria, who is going to be one of the co-launchers. Please, we need to see him rise. Co-launcher, that's a key word for us here. Thank you. Then we have Alhaji Amosa Saidu, who is a former director of finance, TED Fund. Then we have Professor Isaac Samani, who is the Deputy Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, Administration, National Open University of Nigeria. He's, I think, representing the now university professor. Well, my apologies, please. A round of applause for him. Now, I think we are moving gradually to one of the most important part of this program. I do not know how much prepared you are all to show love, but I do know that this is one of the moments you've been waiting for. And talking about the moment you're waiting for, it reminds me of the two simple sentences that I gave to you, that he has money, he spends it. On this note, I would like to call on the chief launcher, the distinguished senator, to come forward and lead us in the launching of this very, very beautiful book. Distinguished sir, a round of applause for him as he comes forward to the podium. Distinguished Senator Salih Mustafa, that's a big name.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. May I first and foremost recognize our governor, the chairman of Governors Forum, Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak, here present. May I also quickly recognize in whom we are gathered here today, Professor ABDUL-RASHEED with his amiable wife, the rep of the Minister of State for Education, okay, I should unveil it first. Okay, sorry.
Good evening, all protocol duly observed. I want to respectfully call the Excellency, the Governor of Kwara State, the Chairman of Governor Forum, to please help us unveil this. And accompanying him will be the Vice Chancellor, Professor ABDUL-RASHEED, and the wife. And then coming with them is our brand new acting Vice Chancellor and the representative of the Minister. You are all welcome. Another round of applause. We can do better.
There is what they call seniority anywhere.
say, Alhamdulillah, I'm quite thrilled to be here today to honor Professor ABDUL-RASHEED Na'Allah. Well, he left his mark in Ilorin as the VC of the State University. When he left, we set up a visitation panel, and we didn't find him wanting. From the foundation he laid, the university today is one of the best universities in Nigeria. Yeah. So, I'll say thank you for the work you've done in Kwara, and I'm glad you're saying sent forth, not retirement, because he still has a lot to offer Nigeria, a lot to offer humanity. Well, with your senator, myself, we'll make sure we look at the spaces open at the national level to try and achieve that. So on this note, I'll say we've launched this book, these books. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well, well, on this note, I don't think there's any need for any introduction again. My brother, SAN AU Mustafa, who is the co-launcher, and I'm Saliu Mustafa. You can see we are all Mustafa, so can you please join us? I also have another brother here. He is also retired but not tired, Alhaji Amosa. Can you please also join us? You are the assistant co-launcher. Well, like His Excellency has just said, I also repeated it the other day. He's retired, but we don't think he's tired. And thank God the chairman of Governors Forum has just sanctioned it now. Any little space we find now for him to come and add value again and continue to promote the cause of good work, like what he has put together here, inshallah, we'll report and promote him. On that note, on behalf of myself, or on behalf of the governor and myself, my own is the smaller part of it, his own is the larger part. I will launch this book with the sum of 10 million naira.
I think on that note, we can do better. Let's clap for the chief launcher and our governor. The co-launcher is with me, is here too. At least the foundation has been set. It will continue on that note.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I also be live in James. Please allow me to stand on the existing protocol. But let me ride on that to say good evening to my senior brother, our governor, for creating time out of his very, very busy schedule. Like all of us know, he's the chairman of Governors Forum, he's the governor of Kwara State, so our brother, and he has found time to come here. Thank you very much for the honor. For the Professor Nala, everybody call him a professor, but for me, I call him ambassador. He's indeed the ambassador of Ilorin Emirates. He has represented us well. I'm happy the governor has given him a very good accolade now that he served Kwara State very well. Without being modest, my wife is a lecturer at the University of Abuja. I can say too that Professor Nala has served University of Abuja and Nigeria very well. And one good term deserves another. So we are going to remind the governor and remind my junior brother. I have a senior brother here, and I have a junior brother. It's just that he's richer than me. And they've assured us that if you do good things, Quran say the benefit or the reward for good is good. So inshallah, I'm sure this is the beginning of better things to come. And acting VC. So very young. She's my sister. When I came here, I could not even recognize her. It's the case of brain and beauty. Congratulations. It's a straight deserve. Now, you know, lawyers just are very good with words, but not lawyers are not rich people. I don't know how they came about making me a co-launcher. I was not informed, and I don't have the kind of money. You know, the senators are the highest paid senators around the world. we don't even know how much they pay themselves, but we know they pay, and they're in charge of our budget. So don't expect the kind of money. I think the best thing is for me to make the announcement, and for most of us, my junior brother, to pay the money, because it's so. On that note, I congratulate my brother for this milestone. We are very, very proud of you. Our senior brother has said it, and it's not a joke. Everybody here who are learning people are very, very proud of you. Please keep it up. In Nigeria, we need to find heroes that we look onto. If anybody is looking for an hero to benchmark, you have one in Professor Noala. I will make a modest donation of a charge and bail lawyer donation of 2.5 million. Thank you.
Thank you, San. Please, it's just an oversight. I want to invite the DVC management, Professor Afa. Please. DVC administration, Professor Philip Afa. Please come on. And on the same note, I want to call on Professor, the registrar and the bossa. And while doing that, I want to call on Professor, lawyer Barrister Moyo, who is representing one of the chief launcher. Please, my registrar, please. It's an oversight. Our CBN in the university. Please, can you come up? The bossa. So why they come up, do your launching.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Please permit me to stand on the existing protocol. We do deference to the Excellency, Governor Abdul-Razak. I also adopt everything my senior advocate have said this evening about Professor Nella. And want to wish him well too. And also want to thank the governor today, by the way, that he has given Professor Nella a clean bill of health. Because I do remember that at the time, the governor of Kwara State, the government of Kwara State set up a panel to really look into the books of Kwara State University. And there are all sorts of talks and the rest of them. But the head of the state, of Kwara State, has given us a claim bill this evening, and that thing is coming from the most authentic authority from Kwara State. We are very, very grateful, sir. Well, I represent Alhaji Abdul-Razak Toyin Abubakar, and he has asked me to convey his goodwill to the celebrant, and he made a total donation of 2 million naira. And he said I should make clarification that one, the proposed Abdul-Razak Abubakar Toyin University AAT, in which Professor Nala is our chief consultant, is buying the books for 1 million. The Alhaji Abdul-Razak himself, that's the proprietor of that university, is taking the books for 500,000. And he also make another donation on behalf of friends in the sum of 500,000.
On this note, we want to say thank you to everyone, and then our governor, and we can go on. So please, you can have your seat, sir. Thank you. Please, another round of applause. No. Go. Go.
Can we please put our hands together once again for His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kwara State, the chief launchers, and all other co-launchers who have launched this book today. Yes? Okay, yes. I want to very quickly invite 2 more launchers. Please, if you are interested in launching... The books, yes. Your Excellency.
Good evening, distinguished guests. I would like to stand on the existing protocol, please. On behalf of the university management, I launch 5 copies each of these books for an undisclosed sum. Thank you.
Undisclosed. Undisclosed sum.
Imam is here. Imam Olaufe is here, who is going to make some announcement. Please, come forth, please. Thank you very much. On behalf of Matrix, Imam Olaufe is here, who is going to make some pronouncements on behalf of Matrix Energy. Thank you.
No, not on behalf of Matrix. For what Professor Nala has done in the University of Abuja, as an Imam of Ansaruddin Abuja branch, also head of the department Islamic Studies, University of Abuja, I'll pick language performance and a learning far with a sum of 200,000 naira.
Thank you very much. Ajia Bolanle Oniagi. Ajia Bolanle Oniagi, please. And then while she comes forth, Mrs. Eniye Agbato. Mrs. Eniye Agbato, please. And then the Ilorin Like Minds Foundation. And then the Ilorin Descendant Progressive Union, IEDPU. Please come forward to launch the books for us as well. Alhaji Usman Shehu Aladire. Alhaji Usman Shehu Aladire, please, if you are here, if you want to come forward to make pronouncements, let us know so we present the microphone to you. Anywhere you are, it will get to you. All right, thank you.
I stand on the existing protocol. On behalf of Ilorin Like Mind, of which the Vice Chancellor is a member, we are buying 2 copies of this for 500,000 naira.
All right, thank you very much. Alaja Goroso Giwa, on behalf of the Center for Sustainable Development, she wants to make some donation. Alhaji Usman Shehu Aladire, where are you, please? Please, if we don't mention your name and you are interested in launching the books, just indicate by raising your hands. The microphone will get to you. Thank you. Alhaji Usman Aladire is also here. Thank you.
Yes. On behalf of the family, you all know that the professor was born by Ilorin and by a parent and by my mother and my father. So it's my sibling. On behalf of our late parent, I want to buy the book for 100,000 naira. On behalf of the University of Abuja Center for Sustainable Development, being a deputy director, I want to buy for 100,000 naira. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Please, let's put our hands together for once again. Thank you so much.
We are so happy to see the Excellency honoring us. He is our senator from the same village, from the same home. We are your proud daughters and sons. We are very delighted to have you here as the father of the day. and our distinguished senator, on behalf of the family, I thank you all for coming. Thank you so much, sir.
All right, Ajia, before you go, you promised to buy a copy for me too. How much are you buying for me?
For being a dedicated staff, Akim has been everything to Nala and to all of us as a family, and a proud son of Ilori. For being a dedicated staff, PA, SA, I want to buy a copy on behalf of Akim for 100,000 naira.
Oh my God. Can we please appreciate her once again with a resounding round of applause? Thank you so much, Ajia. And I promise you I will read the book again and again. Thank you. Alhaji Usman Aladire.
All protocols duly observed. On behalf of myself and my family, I launched 2 copies of this book for 150,000.
Okay, 150,000. Please, let's put our hands together for him once again. Thank you. We have Mrs. Agbato here, who is here to also launch the book. Thank you so much.
Please permit me to stand on the existing protocol. As I am here, I thank God for this beautiful occasion. I want to use this opportunity to appreciate Professor Naala for giving us an opportunity to work with him on delivering the mentoring program for the University of Abuja. He believed in us, the board members. We delivered, but our joy was full when we heard that it had been institutionalized, and we've seen the university running with it with all the passion it deserves. We thank you, sir, for what you have done. We thank you for the wonderful relationship we had with you. And so on behalf of the entire members of the board for Mentoring University of Abuja, I launched this book with a sum of 0.7 million naira for 20 copies of the book. Thank you so much.
I thought you were going to buy for me too. Add it up so that it will be. She's going to buy a copy for me too. So she wants to add it up so that it will complete. Oh yeah, add it up, add it up. All right, thank you very much. Can we please appreciate her? 0.7 million, 0.7.
On behalf of our amiable friend, Alhaji Abdulhamid Baboyo, who is the president of Kwara State Motor Dealer Association of Nigeria, he is launching 2 copies at the rate of 100,000 naira.
Thank you very much. Dr. Mesuna M. Yaya is launching with a sum of 50,000 naira. Thank you. We have the representative of the Ilorin Descendant Progressive Union here, High DPU. They are to launch the books. Thank you.
On behalf of Ilorin Emirin Descendant Union, we are marking it up with the launching of 100,000 naira.
That is IDPU. Dr. Grace Anibasa is here to also launch the books on behalf of the Center for Sideways Mentoring and Student Employment Scheme. Dr. Grace Anibasa Ogunlade, thank you very much.
On behalf of the centers, our students, our constituency, and staff, we are launching these 2 copies of this book for the sum of 100,000.
All right, thank you. We're going to be moving around. We'll pass paper around if you're interested in launching the book. Okay, we have the Director, Public-Private Partnership here, Professor Monirat Yusuf. Thank you.
Professor ABDUL-RASHEED Naala, the entire PPP unit, led my humble self, the legal team of the PPP unit, and particularly our investors. They have asked me, in fact, some of them will have been here today, but unfortunately, because the invitation is a bit late, for giving them the opportunity to be part of the progress that you have made in the University of Abuja, to be part of the success story that you have recorded in the University of Abuja. And again, we have this to say, please, you are leaving us, but please, you are not leaving us. We'll miss you, we'll meet you again. Please do not put the University of Abuja behind you. the work you have commenced, you must always come back and make sure that you work with your daughter, Professor Aisha, to make sure that she's able and capable of sustaining this. And we are ready and willing to support him. So on behalf of the active investors who have commenced construction of student hostel on PPP basis, of which Professor ABDUL-RASHEED initiated, they have asked me to launch 5 copies of this book with a sum of 500,000 naira. Yes,
Thank you very much. Please, we are very mindful of the fact that we have come here to send forward our Vice Chancellor. And right about now, we're going to be very, very fast about it so that I can see someone yawning here already. He is ready to hit. Alhaji Aladure, 500. Alhaji Idris Saidu has launched the book with the sum of 500,000 naira. Yes. Smabem International, Alhaji Idris Said, is launched the book with 500,000 naira, 4 copies. Thank you very much. On behalf of Abubakar Baba Yunusa family, 1 copy, 100,000 naira. Thank you very much. Thank you. Dr. Ojelade is here to make announcement.
On behalf of my department, Science and Environmental Education, we are launching 2 for 100,000 naira.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ojelade. Thank you.
On behalf of Faculty of Agriculture, because Professor ABDUL-RASHEED Nala is agri-friendly, we are launching 50,000 naira.
Don't go, Prof. No. 50,000 is too soon.
It's a mistake.
Okay, we up it to 100,000.
You can now ask people to clap for you. Please clap for him. Thank you very much. Thank you. Professor Ogwai is here. How many copies? Doctor? Prof?
I wouldn't say much about Professor Nala. Again, much has been said. But if you look closely, you discover that he's very shy each time you are talking good of him. I've particularly noticed that. So I think that takes care of a whole lot of good things that has been said about you. The future is still open, and we are wishing you the best. I happen to be the director of Center for Philanthropism and Social Innovation. Our center is new, so we are still on the move. When we get to where we are headed to, we'll come back to speak on behalf of the center. But for now, I'm speaking on behalf of myself with a sum of 50,000 naira.
Please, we don't want goodwill. We don't want long speech. Just come here, introduce yourself, and drop the money. Please. Yes, okay.
Your Excellency, everybody that has come to this side had introduced himself as brother, senior brother, junior brother. I think I'm the luckiest man here. The 3 senior citizens sitting on this table are my father. So you can see that I'm very lucky. I am Air Commodore Shola Doye. I am the former commandant and chief executive of Air Force Institute of Technology, but now on my own. Professor Nala has been my mentor since the time I joined academics. And on this note, without much ado, I want to make a personal donation of $500,000 naira. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Please, I want to call on my registrar to come and say something. Just wait. While the registrar is coming to the podium, Microfinance Bank, the brand new MD.
My name is Garba Mohammed. On behalf of Abuja Microfinance Bank, one of the historical projects of Professor ABDUL-RASHEED Nala in University of Abuja. Personally, I'm launching the book as a banker, very conservative, for 50,000 personally, and on behalf of the bank, 50,000, making a total of 100,000. I have done the transfer immediately.
All right.
Thank you. On behalf of the principal officers of the University of Abuja, we are launching 5 copies for an undisclosed amount, please.
Thank you, sir.
Professor